Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be your basic Dreamweaver design view. There's two views. They call it the code view, which is all the coding, and the design view. We also have the ability to have what we call a split view, which means that we can come in here and just see what we're typing at the same time. We can see the code coming in. So that if you like to work that way, that's one benefit. And as you start, Dreamweaver's what's called a WYSIWYG program, which means what you see is what you get. So we're going to actually work in the design view in the beginning because this is all basic to you. And then as we start to get more advanced, especially in the intermediate Dreamweaver class, we'll start doing some more advanced things, which means we're going to have to work in both either the code view and design view or in the code view primarily. This is our common window right here, and you'll notice if I click down I can change windows by just clicking any of these windows here. Okay, so we're just going to stay right now with the common view. If you have an older window or an older version, you can go in and actually change all of this the way it looks and is set up. You'll notice off to the side here we have cascading style sheets, applications, a tag inspector, and then we can look at our files. If we had any files, we could actually go down, and right now we don't have anything happening. But when we have our files set up, we can actually go in and look at those and see how they're set up. Across the top we have our normal stuff, file, edit. This should look familiar. A lot of these cut, copy, paste. We'll talk about select all, parent tag, child tag, things like that later. We can look at our views, insert, modify, text, command, cite, and then window view. Okay. You'll notice down here all the way at the bottom, this is our properties. Currently the format would be our text formatting if we wanted to put together our texts in what are called headers or headings, pre-formatted. We have right now currently set a default font, but then we can go in and pick these fonts. And what this does is, if you pick a font family, it goes in and you load that font family as your font for your web page, and every time that font or that web page loads on a computer, it's going to be working with these three font families, which is great because some computers may have Times New Roman, but they won't have Times for some reason, or you'll get Veranda but you won't get, or Verdana but you won't get Arial. Or so what it does is it gives you three options for the way the web page is viewed. And since they're all in the same font family, they're all the same size, picas, the spacing, the kerneling, all of those things, they're all the same size, so that makes it really nice. You can add fonts, we can edit our font list, we can make some changes, but for right now we're just going to work with the default. We can pick our styles. And currently we don't have a style sheet, so I'm not going to worry about it right now, which in our style or cascading style sheet. We can pick sizes. And then these are going to be colors, okay? And then if we have to, this really is going to be where we get to pick, or we can type in a color. Okay, one of the things I recommend is when you start building your web pages that you put together a swatch block, or you sit down, especially if you're going to be doing this for design purposes and for clients. One, you work within a color family, and we'll talk about that when we get to colors, but you also write down the colors that you're using in your web page. This color picker, if you'll notice, has the ability to pick up colors anywhere. So if, say, you like this green right here and you're trying to figure out what that green is, notice down here when I go to pick a color, it changes it. So it picks up any color that you see, and which is really nice. That's one of the new options that it had two revisions ago, and it was very nice. If you have a color that you really particularly like, and it's on a photograph, you can open that photograph, minimize the screen, and pick that color out. Okay, so it makes it very nice in what we're trying to do. Our links, these are, of course you should recognize these, bold, italics, are your alignments. These are bullets, numbered lists, indents, okay, text indent, text outdent, we'll talk about that. Our target, which means if we're working in a frame set, we can have target frames where we have things open. We have our links here, So when we go in and we want to link text or we want to link files, we have the ability to do that here. We can type it in or we can go right to the file itself. And then this is page properties. This is new. They've put page properties down here so that we can start to play with our pages and set up our pages really very easily. So it's pretty nice that they've put that all together for us. Sometimes one of the things you'll want to do is open up Windows. We're going to actually start by opening up our Windows properties and going through and setting up our document. Okay, you want to manage your properties. So we're going to go here. We already have our properties window open. Okay, so if you don't have it open, click it and open it. You want to make sure that the document is where you lay it out and edit your page visually. Several icons on the lower side of the document windows will allow you different parts to access to Dreamweaver. We have those up here, and then we have them again. Remember that we have those windows and those things that allow us to get to them right here. Okay, these are our flash elements again that are sitting right there. When you start your document or your page, one of the things that I want you to do is I want you to go right in automatically and go to your page properties and set it all up. This is your default font. These are your sizes, background colors. If you have a background image, and we'll talk about that at another time, putting a background image and how we work with those and setting them up for tables and how we put layers on them. This is where you can put it. If you have margins, if you want a margin, you want to put that in here. If you have our text color right now, we're going to go ahead and make it a default black for right now, which is always 000. We can pick a text size if we want, or we can actually go in. Now remember, this is a WYSIWYG program, so we're looking at this in terms of just like you would, say, a Word program. Okay. Links, same. We can change our visited links. So you want to know, what are your link colors? What are your visited link colors? Things like that. Okay. Underline links, and we'll talk about underlining and why underlining text in general is a bad idea, because it confuses users with the underline links. Headings. Anytime you want to make a change or you want headings to come up a certain way, this really is for our cascading style sheets. And then our title and encoding. Our title of our document right now, we'll just say my first web page. Okay. Western European, some people like Unicode. It just depends, but for right now we're going to just use Western European. And then if we had a tracing image, which would be an image that we would use that would be in the upper left-hand corner normally, and we could work with it, make it very clearly seen, meaning opaque, or we can make it very transparent. So, okay, and we'll say apply those, and you'll see your title right here is my first web page, right there in the title. Okay. We want to go also, and we want to make sure that if you can't find page properties down at the bottom, you can always go to modify and then get page properties there again, so that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so kind of go through these pull down menus and familiarize yourself with them, because you want to be sure that as you become more proficient, you'll know what the commands are. Control J for page properties. You should already know Control Z, Control C, Control V, Control S for save. You should be doing that a lot and often. We want to make sure that, in fact, you're doing that a lot. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we need to create our first page. I want you to go in and just click in the center here, and I just want you to go ahead and type my first Dreamweaver page. Okay. It's going to be easy. There it is. I want you to select the text, and that just means click and drag across. Okay. and then we can change our font size. Notice it's 12 now, but I want to do something a little better in that I want to kind of do everything at once. One of the things that I can do now is I can change my formatting. Notice I can get a heading title or heading size, and notice what happens. Now, the lower the number, the larger the size. Okay, so heading 1 is very large. Heading 5 or heading 6, very small. Okay, so this is heading 1. Okay, go through, look at your fonts, see what it is you like. Here's Arial, and see the difference. Now this is what's called a modern font because it doesn't have the serif, so the edges are very clean, very straight. It's got very crisp corners. And then let's look at Times New Roman, which is a sans serif, or this is a serif font, which means it has a serif, which are these little things that happen, these little dips on the edge here, and that comes from when they had to use a tool to cut out a font. So I want you to go through and kind of look at what it is each one of these looks like. Okay. So what is it? And then pick one. Pick one that you like. Most newspapers and magazines are printed with the serif font, which is one of these. And we're starting to see more use of this. And we'll talk about fonts and their impacts. Let's change the color. And I want you to be careful when you pick your colors because they are going to be colors that should be easy to be seen. We want to remember everybody has access to the web, so that means even people who have a tough time seeing fonts, people who need reading glasses, or people who are visually impaired. So I want you to remember that. Okay. We can change this color, and we can actually go in here and go to the color wheel and pick a color. So if you see something you don't like, you can pick a color, make your own color. Okay, but again, I want you to be very careful. Here's kind of in the family, and this is the family here, and this is kind of the area, the color range that you're in. As you start to go down, you'll notice we can add more black. This allows us to add more white, and then this, of course, allows us to pick somewhat in a family color. So if you see something you like, go ahead and do that. Okay, and then if I want to add it to custom colors, there's my color. I want you, again, to keep track of what colors you're using in your web page, because this is important. You should be keeping a file or a folder that keeps all your stuff together. Okay, so now I've clicked it, I click off it, and here's my first web page, or my first text on my page. Now these are also going to be subject to our alignments down here. You'll notice what I did was I clicked my center align, and I put my page in the center. I can click right aligned, or I can click justified, and we don't have really anything to justify at this point. Here, this is left aligned, so I'll go back to center and center it. One of the things that I want you to remember is that your text shouldn't start right against the edge. And the reason is because some monitors will cut your text off when that happens. So the easiest thing that we can do is, there are two things. We can set up our margins. Remember back here in page properties, we can set up our margins and have margins set up. We can say our left margin is 0.5, okay, and our right margin is 0.5. Problem is it's too close. It's already shifted it over from its default. So what we really need to be looking at is what's going to give us the best possible look when it comes to our page. I want you to think of this. For right now, we'll always want to be working in pixels, but if you want to think about in inches, okay, this gives us a little better idea. Since we tend to work in inches, this might be more helpful for right now. What this does is gives us, I'm going to change this to 0.5. What this does is gives us some relief, and it also allows those who have different size monitors to be able to view our whole page. Okay, this gives us some white space. It also gives us the ability for other monitors to not cut our text off. You've probably been to websites where they've cut the text off on the sides, and it makes it very difficult to read, and it's frustrating, and one of the things you don't want to do is drive the user away from your page. So it's easy enough to put that in place at first, and I always want you to do that. I always want you to be thinking about how can we help the user, okay? Because the thing we want them to do is to stay at our website, not drive them off, okay? So we definitely never want to drive them off. Okay, one of the things we need to do, and we didn't talk about this, is we need to go in and save this page. So right off the bat, we're going to go save. Since we've never saved it before, we're going to do that now. I'm going to navigate to my desktop, and I always want you to be working on your desktop because it's easier for you to go in and work from your desktop if you right mouse click, okay, come in here, go to New, hit Folder, and in this I want you to make this your CSS 126 dash 01. Okay, so this is your 126.01, your Dreamweaver folder, or you can name it Dreamweaver. That whatever works for you, because we are going to be using this folder to put everything in, and this folder is going to be what you use. You're going to create an identical folder in your website creation when you go to have a website, okay? When you go to Yahoo and get a free web account, you're going to duplicate this exact same folder. So you can make it Dreamweaver, you can make it Dream, you can make it whatever. Okay, I'm going to open the folder and I'm going to select this, and I'm going to type this as index. Okay, we'll always have our first page be our index page, and then I'm going to hit save. Okay, so my first Dreamweaver page is now in my index folder. So now when I go to hit Control S, it's automatically going to update it and save it right into that folder. So that's first and foremost the easiest thing we've done. Go ahead and do this, save it, and come back to this tutorial, and we'll talk more about creating links, setting up your background images, and things like that.